I think in this phase there is a lot of good work that's happening in South films, and that's been remade in Bollywood. I think it's just a phase.
I wanted to become an actor. I wanted to tell stories, and I see no point in telling the same story twice.
I've been fighting this. Like every time people come to me, and sometimes it's close friends or family friends or big directors or big names. I don't ever want to do a remake.
You know, when you go down memory lane and look back at the biggest films of the 90s in Bollywood, you would realize that most of the smash hits were actually remakes of international films or Tamil and Telugu movies. The biggest smash hit of 1992, Beta, starring Anil Kapoor and Madhuri Dixit, was a remake of a Tamil film starring K. Bhagyaraj. The 1993 smash hit Aankhe was actually inspired from the 1967 Tamil film Anubhavi Raja Anubhavi. Commercial Bollywood's inspiration was not only restricted to Indian cinema. The duo of Abbas Mastan, who made a name for themselves in the 90s, created all remakes of international films. The 1993 film Bazigar being a remake of A Kiss Before Dying, Darar being based on Sleeping with the Enemy, and the 1999 film Badshah clearly inspired from several films including Nick of Time and If Looks Could Kill. This was also the time where copyright laws were not as stringent as they are today. So creators, just like the music back in the day, could plagiarize scripts and tunes to their heart's content and generally face no backlash. The penetration of Indian cinema on a global scale and the lack of coverage regarding the problem with unoriginal ideas led to many artists and creators actually thriving. This is not to discount the fact that there wasn't any innovation in original stories, but the sad reality is that commercial Bollywood in the 90s was either dominated by Suraj Barjatia family films or remakes.
Distributors throwing themselves at their feet on the set saying, when's your film coming? My theaters, we're running out of money. It's like a drought out there. We're waiting for something. Please, guys. They were like the princes of the film industry in that sense.
There was a huge shift, however, in the late 90s and early 2000s, especially after Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge and its roaring success, with the prime focus of creators to make romantic epics. Amir Khan would follow the next year with Raja Hindustani, Shah Rukh would reign over 1997 and 1998 with Dil To Pagal Hai and Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, and Salman Khan blew the box office out of the park in 1999 with Hum Saath Saath Hai and Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam. This was also a period in commercial Bollywood which produced timeless music, songs that still produce a sense of nostalgia and nothing but positivity. Without any bias, what you have to admit is that the following years, all the way up to the mid-2000s, were ruled, and I'm strictly talking about economics in context of the highest grossing films by Karan Johar and Aditya Chopra. From Mohabbatein, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, Kal Ho Na Ho and Veer Zara, romance was simply thriving and there was no stopping that. There was still a sense of authenticity because these stories were original to the creators and were producing music that is still remembered today.
ये खत्म हो गई अभी 2.5 दिन भी नहीं हुए हैं लोग को पसंद भी आ रही है do a love story ना so yeah but I just did that one then you said don't do love stories again then but do a love story.
What you may have noticed regarding the period in the early to late 2000s is that I did not mention Salman Khan, and it is because he went through a massive slump, momentary rise, and again a huge slump at the box office in this period. But one decision, I believe, changed the game of what producers feel about safe bets in commercial Bollywood. It started in 2009 and it hasn't stopped ever since. The Pokiri remake, Wanted. After a momentary above average performance at the box office with the Setu remake Tere Naam in 2003, Salman suffered a huge slump creatively and at the box office. With projects like Lucky, No Time for Love, Babul, Yuvraj, London Dreams, it wasn't smooth sailing at all. But there was absolute frenzy when Salman came on the screen as Radhe in Wanted. The trend, ladies and gentlemen, has not stopped. And music for some reason has just followed along.
See, what I want to do is when somebody, with all this mehengai and all that stuff, when somebody buys a ticket, I want him to go inside, have a blast and come out.
Okay.
I want with all the dukh and all the sorrow and all the mehengai and all the garibi, all the problems in their house, I just want when they go to see a film, they should come out, yaar, paisa vasool.
Not only did Salman Khan's career at the box office get revived, but his future projects proved this model that worked was the one that was best suited for execution, especially commercial Bollywood films that are presented on such a large scale. From Ready to Bodyguard to even Kick, the trend was already set. Guess who followed suit with abundant success? Ajay Devgan and Akshay Kumar. Devgan and Rohit Shetty taking over the Singham franchise, made originally popular by Surya in the Tamil film industry, while Akshay did Rowdy Rathore, a Telugu remake, followed by Boss, a Malayalam remake, and Holiday, a Tamil remake again. When star-led films such as this were doing such massive numbers, production companies are bound to channelize their funds for more and more. Again, this is no way to say that this was only happening during this time, but to come to terms with reality, especially of the biggest hits of the year, that the top 5 highest grossers post the 2010s always had a remake. So when a capitalist mindset thinks about such a model, they think to themselves, why not more?
The film is a remake from South, and it's amazing to see the same film which is released in South also, Rowdy Rathore, in Chennai and Hyderabad. It is doing one of the very big business. I'm surprised that people want to see the same film in a different language. It's the same film at the end of the day.
Sadly, I had spoken about the creative pandemic of sorts in the previous video regarding music in films and how the digital revolution and the absence of physical sales for music companies in the form of CDs and cassettes that would provide them huge margins of profit has actually left behind a huge catalogue of songs that are left unused. Now, while the digital age is booming and music companies have huge audiences online, it becomes an easier method for them to churn out songs at their disposal for both singles as well as for movies. The sad reality is that while we mock the lack of innovation on Twitter as more and more remixes get produced in films, the number of streams and views they generate just because of the recall value gives the creators more incentive to keep on producing more and more. While there are a few creators who believe in original music for films, commercial films still resort to having 1 or 2 smash hit remixes for Nora Fatehi to get the buzz starting. Because I'll tell you one thing Nora Fatehi guarantees, it's views.
There is original composition, and people have worked hard on it. The director has given an idea, and the composer has done, the lyric writer has done, the actors have acted. So it's holy for people. You can't take that, push all the names, and put a remixer's name on it. And they don't even credit the original composer.
Let's look at the current scenario though. While War and Uri were huge hits in 2019, Kabir Singh was one of the biggest hits, a remake of a Telugu film, Arjun Reddy.
When the opening day of Kabir Singh had actually come out, they do those previews the night before or something like that.
Yeah.
And the highest previews got sold in Hyderabad.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, okay, now this is strange, right? You're like, so it's a city that has watched this film fully and wants to watch it first.
Shahid Kapoor in the big leagues as a leading hero in Bollywood. While all eyes were on him on his next move, knowing very well a bad commercial decision like Batti Gul cannot be afforded anymore, he connected to the already proven and successful project like Jersey with Nani. There is a sense of security, especially when there is pressure to mimic the same success as your last film, or there seems to be no hope whatsoever to set eyes on the original and especially successful stories getting produced from the South or even the international market. Just look at this case right now. Varun Dhawan's biggest commercial success is Judba 2, so why not remake another David Dhawan film to mimic the same model? By the way, Coolie number 1 in itself is a remake of a Tamil film. Amir Khan had a huge dip with the shocking product that was Thugs of Hindustan, so he dedicates more than a year to the adaptation of Forrest Gump, a proven classic. Tiger Shroff has tested majority of his success from the Baghi franchise. Each part remakes of Telugu and Tamil movies. The model is also being used to safeguard debuts for new faces. Where Janhvi and Ishan made their debut with the remake of Sairat, a Marathi film, Sunil Shetty's son Ahan Shetty is also set to debut with Tara Sutaria in the remake of RX 100. Jammy, but what's the point of all of this? Robin Sharma rightly said, the antidote to stagnation is innovation. But when money is involved, and as a stakeholder in a production company, if Salman promises returns that would even make Kevin O'Leary jump from the Shark Tank seat and dance in joy, it isn't going to stop anytime soon. Till we the audience decide with our dollar and carefully distinguish between what's worth our time and money and what isn't, the cycle will continue. The rants on Twitter for good cinema will not be worth it if you still go in the evening to buy the tickets for the film you roasted online. The audience can only force change for this remake phase to end. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below whether you have some video ideas for our channel. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.